When we look at the ruins of Rome or Athens, it's easy to see our own reflection. We treat these civilizations as the familiar, rational birthplaces of modern politics and democracy. But if you were to actually step foot in the ancient world, you would be lost. The logic driving their society was entirely alien. You would find a legal system where buying or selling land was strictly prohibited. Remaining single was considered a punishable crime. And if you were an outsider, you possessed zero human rights. Ancient society ran on an entirely different foundation, the strict, literal worship of ghosts. Early Greeks and Romans believed that when a person died, their spirit didn't travel to another world. Rather, it lived on in the soil, right where they were buried. It required constant offerings of food and wine from the living to prevent it from becoming a malevolent demon. This belief manifested in the sacred fire. Every household maintained a literal burning altar. The father of the family acted as the high priest of his own household, tasked with keeping this fire alive day and night. Because these spirits resided in the ground, owning land had nothing to do with economics. A family claimed a piece of earth as a religious necessity to protect the ancestral tombs and ensure the dead received their offerings. This domestic religion stretches back long before classical Greece or Rome. We see the exact same rules and rituals recorded in the earliest Indo-European texts, like the ancient Sanskrit laws of Manu. Because the ancestral fire dictated everything, all laws surrounding marriage and inheritance were reverse-engineered to serve it. A daughter had to formally renounce her family's gods to marry into another's, and inheritance passed only through the male line to guarantee the bloodline conducting the rituals remained pure. Ancient families operated as secretive religious cults, completely walled off from the rest of humanity. Over generations, isolated families merged into groups called phratries, then larger tribes, and eventually the city. Despite this growth, the underlying logic stayed the same. The city operated as one giant family gathered around a shared sacred fire. This defined what it meant to be a citizen. A citizen possessed the specific religious lineage required to participate in the city's exclusive sacrifices. You either had the blood connection to the local gods, or you didn't. If you were a stranger, you were entirely excluded from those gods. Because the law was an extension of religion, being excluded from the gods meant you were excluded from all legal protections. You could not own property, could not inherit wealth, or defend yourself in court. Justice in this world was synonymous with ritual. Every rule served one purpose: to enforce religious purity and shut the uninitiated out. This created the municipal spirit. Every city possessed its own exclusive local gods, complete with secret rituals and hymns that could not be shared. They believed the gods of one city inherently hated the gods of a neighboring city. This deep spiritual division made peaceful alliances or unified empires structurally impossible. The inevitable, devastating result of this localized religious friction was perpetual, uncompromising, brutal warfare between these divided neighboring states. In this system, individual liberty did not exist. A citizen belonged, body and soul, to the religious apparatus of their city. But this rigid structure had a flaw. It created a massive and growing underclass, known as the plebs. These were people with no property, no recognized ancestors, and therefore no rights at all. Decade after decade, this oppressed underclass rebelled against the patrician elites who hoarded all the religious and legal authority for themselves. The first major force to destabilize this world was the birth of philosophy. Philosophers taught citizens to seek universal, rational truths. They argued that right and wrong were matters of human nature and logic, rather than blind obedience to the secretive ancestral rites of a specific town. By questioning the authority of the sacred fire, philosophy cracked the invisible prison that had held the ancient city together for centuries. The final disruption to the ancient domestic religion arrived with Christianity. This new belief system proclaimed a single, universal God accessible to all humans, regardless of their family bloodline or hometown. This universal faith broke the ancient bond between religious worship and state governance. We did not peacefully inherit modern democracy and human rights from Greece and Rome. We had to completely extinguish their sacred fires to build a world of our own.